All right, so really quickly, I want to share with you guys a quick tip on how to use the streamers #2 to basically crop your photos and add that fun shape around your photos, and then also to mat it with this design. Most recently, I just did it in the last event that we did where I was scrapbooking with my sister, and she chose to do this similar design on her layout. And a few of you guys had some questions. This is a design I've done multiple times with the streamers #2. It's a fun go-to, and I'm just gonna walk through some thoughts and steps that you have along with that. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Susan, and I'm so excited to be here and to help share some tips to help you to complete some beautiful pages of your own. So of course, if you try these tips, don't be shy, let us know, share it with us in the community. We love celebrating those finished pages with you. All right, now, this is another use of the streamers #2 here, this template. This set does come with 2 other designs, which are so much fun. So if you don't have this set, not only is it just super fun to do this technique, this design technique on multiple different layouts, because the moment you change the look, of course, the look changes as well, but it's a great set to have in your collection. And it does come with, let me pull those out. You got streamers #1 and then streamers #3. So all of these are really fun sets for kind of like a more backdrop effect, or to mat your pictures, or a place to kind of place mat your pictures on top. And you could see more of those samples and ideas in our gallery section for this specific set in our shop. Each of our sets has a gallery and a video gallery attached to the product page, so make sure to check that out. But here on this sample, you can see it being used as that backdrop, where I'm allowing that paper to embellish my page from a backdrop point, but also to allow the pictures to be the focal point of this page. So that's another fun way, of course, to use the streamers. But let's go ahead and showcase the quick tips on how to accomplish matting your pictures and cropping them down with the streamers #2. The first thing you need to know is if you want the streamers, like the design, to go across your page like this. This is a page that I happen to be creating, and I thought, you know what? A few of you guys have been asking questions since that video with my sister, and she did this in her design, and I thought, well, I'll just incorporate it on this page, because like I said, you can never go wrong with this style tip. But if you are doing it horizontal, then you'll need to use vertical pictures, right? And if you're using the 4x6s, of course, 3 4x6s equals 12 inches. And so it easily gives you a cohesive across the board look by picking 3 vertical 4x6 pictures. If you want it to go the other direction, okay, like this, say on your page, then you would want to do, if you wanted to go vertical on your page, then you would do horizontal pictures. And so you would pick some horizontal pictures. Either way, the tips that I'm about to share apply to either direction, but that is something to be mindful of. This design is also really great if you do have a lot of pictures that are this shape, but you don't want to do straight across line. You want to give it a little bit more movement, a little bit more personality and character. Then of course, this will do that trick as well. So to start off with, what I recommend is you use the template kind of as that cropping tool. You see through, don't cut into it until you know exactly what place you want each of your pictures. So for example, this picture right here, if I place it in the center and I move it up, I'm still cutting off the donkey's head. If I move it over here and I try to place it all the way up, well, then I'm not going to that point, right? And there's one tip about that. If you try different places of your photos and you still don't have this completely all the way to the point of the edge, you could just choose to cover that with an embellishment or something, and it doesn't show a cutoff on that. All right, so I'll circle back around to that here in a moment, but that is one way to work around it. Now, one thing you'll notice though, if I move this picture over here, I get the head of Lacey, my daughter, and the donkey. So sometimes it's just about moving it around on the streamers itself. The other option is you could flip this direction. It still wouldn't help me in this case, right? But sometimes it makes that point go upwards. which depending on the picture works great too. If your pictures are very cropped in, like this one, they could be a little bit harder to crop down. So you really want to use this template to help you see through it before you cut into it to see if you're okay with cropping it down. In this case, I actually think it adds to the humor a little bit to even be more cropped in on that face. Even though I'm cutting off an ear and different things, I think I would be fine with that. That's just something you would have to decide, and being able to visualize that through the designer template as that cropping tool here in this instance really does help with making those decisions. All right. So with that said then, let me flip it back here. I think the best options for mine is I'm going to put the donkey here in the middle. This one can't go to the right. It needs to go to the left to make the best cropping. And then this one to the right. And I do want to, like, if you can get that clean cut, then I do want to make sure that point is all the way here and all the way to the top. Then you're just gonna take a pencil or a black pen or something like that, and then we're gonna mark on our pictures, and we wanna line the straight edge, of course, with that. And I'm just going to mark that up where I'm gonna trim that picture down. You really don't have to make it more complicated than that. If a little bit of your black even shows on your picture, you could even just do a clean, smooth little thing with your ink to smooth it out. Even on your pictures, you could ink that. I know I don't ink my pictures, I just ink my paper, but in this case, if you did have mark lines that you're like, oh, I don't know about that, then you could do that. But for the most part, if you follow that line, you'll be surprised how it just won't show, even if it shows a little, because the picture will just blend it. Okay, so let's go ahead to our next one. So I have this one lined up here on the edge, right? And then this is where you might want to slow down. So what I do is I hold this down and I just butt up right next to that one, my next picture. So again, I want this to come down a little because I want it to hit the edge of this one, the template, and the top of the template. So the bottom of the template where that shows. Make sure that it's clean here with the other one, and then just hold down. And then go ahead and mark that like so. And then do the other side. Again, I was okay with cropping that one down. So even though I'm going to lose this bottom part of his mouth, her mouth, not sure, I'm okay with that. Okay, so then this one, again, butt up right against that, right? And then we're going to trim that down. So in my case, because I printed it from my home printer, they're not quite 4 by 4 inches wide. I've noticed that a few times. So I might separate them once I, oh, did I get that? Okay, good. Because you could see right here, this is what I mean. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like a 1/4 inch left on that, even though I paired it all the way across. And that's because they're not true 4 by 6s, but I'll work with it, okay? Now, that's the basics of trimming those down and doing that part. Then of course, I would cut it out with a pair of scissors, like so. And you could just take this really slow. This is a very simple cut. Nothing extraordinary, complicated, or detailed. And so you just kind of go slowly and follow those lines. You do want to stay as close as you can to the line because you want the line continual to happen on its own. I mean, you can always go back and trim it up if you find that it's off a little bit. But for the most part, if you lined it up for pretty close to each other, then that line will continue without you having to go back and adjust again. So staying as close as you can to that line. Normally I'm not as particular, like being so, you know, specific. So I'm always, inking will cover it. I can blend it, you know. But this case, I'm doing a little bit of puzzle piecing, and you want to make sure that those pieces they fit back together where you want them to. Okay. All right. So that is the look at this. This is what I meant to, like, you'll see here that I have a little bit of, I just wiped it away actually. a black pen, so you could either just try smoothing it out. Here I have a little bit more, you can try smoothing it out. Or if you really wanted to, you could just like do a little bit of rub, even on your pictures with your dauber, and it will help smooth it out on those pictures since you're kind of cropping in on those. Again, it's just if that is something that stands out to you. It doesn't bother me, so I'm okay with that. But I know we all have our different OCD kind of tendencies. So if it does, that's my suggestion to you, okay? Now, as far as cropping or matting them, we're gonna use this as a matting option too, right? But we can't do the same exact size at the streamer that we did the photos. So it's really simple. All I'm doing is I'm going to take, like say, this piece of paper, right? There's two ways to go about it. You could just build a mat. Let me move this to the side for a moment. Okay. This is actually not big enough. That won't be big enough for my sheet that I need. This direction would have been. Isn't that funny how that works sometimes? I could have pulled this down and then pulled it up. But that won't work. So don't flip it. If you already cut your pictures out, don't do that because you got to keep the direction going that you had it. Okay, so I had it going this direction. I need to trim something out like that. Okay, so let me showcase that on a black cardstock. I wouldn't use black cardstock in this case, maybe white, but I have it right here. So if you just want to build a basic base for that, what you're gonna do is you just take your template and you trace along the one edge and then you extend it. So now we're gonna just extend it out a little bit and then trace again. Okay, so you can choose how wide you want that mat to be. So for example, if I went and cut that out, right? Oh, where'd my scissors go? I feel like I ask that in every dang video that I do, but oh well. It happens. Let me go ahead and trace that out really fast. Okay, I'm going to do this to the next one. Okay, I just want to show you what that looks like once you place them back on top. So that's really easy then, of course, to build a mat for your pictures. Again, you just extend by sliding that template over on your page when you trace it out. So easy, right? That's how you mat it. Now, the other option is you could do strips instead of using all of that paper. This is just if you're being more, like you have less paper. So for example, I really do want this blue. I think it'll pop really pretty around those pictures, but I can't get the full thing out. There's just not enough space here, right? So again, I wanna make sure I'm going the right direction here. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do strips instead that I'll layer on top, still giving that matting look, the matte look across the pictures. And then I'm gonna take this, extend it out about 1 inch, line it up on the straight edge. Okay, and then take your other side. These aren't like exact, see that on that? But it still would work if you want to do that. And you're almost just building your own trail, in this case, to work with. So let me go ahead and detach this side first. Oops, there we go. And then I can cut these other pieces out. And so what I would do with this is I would layer behind, because you know, just like matting your picture, sometimes all that paper that's behind your picture, you could, you know, no one's gonna see it, right? So same thing with maybe this matting of strips. Nobody's going to see that. So again, in this case, I would layer my pictures on top of that strip. Let's get rid of this black. And then I would do the same with the other side. And then that would be all layered behind, like so. I'd ink it up, add it to my page, and voila, all done. I'll finish this page up. I'll post a finished picture of the finished page, but hopefully just a little bit of insights into how easy it is to use Streamers 2 to mat your pictures and to incorporate those pictures into the shape itself. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to remember too. So I can't wait to see what your pages look like when you incorporate this into your design. And of course, share it with us. We would love to see it. All right, take care. Bye guys.